So welcome to the March meeting of the Mycological Association of Washington, D.C. Tonight, I'm going to have a little bit of club news and some fungi in the news, all illustrated with pictures from our MAWDC project on iNaturalist. If you're not a member of that, go search for Mycological Association of Washington, D.C. on iNaturalist, and you can join and see what everyone's reporting there. Lots of lichens this time of year. We're going to switch up our normal order a little bit and have Mitch go first with his virtual ID table for the pictures that people have been sending him. John Harper's going to talk a little bit about how to identify elm trees and how they relate to morels. April Thompson's going to talk very briefly about her plans for the culinary track of MAW this year. And John, if we have some time, is going to talk about some other member tools on the website, including some privacy issues and forums that you can participate in. And then our main presentation starting at 8 will be Chef Zachary Mazzi talking about elevating fungi as the third culinary kingdom. We've got a bunch of upcoming programs planned. We have one that's off of our normal schedule as part of culinary events. April has scheduled a demo by Chef Chad Hyatt to talk about his methods for cooking mushrooms. That'll be on Wednesday, March 16th. I believe you got to save the date email for that already. And we'll send out a reminder when it's about to happen. And then the next 2 monthly meetings on first Tuesdays, we'll have mushroom macromorphology next month. So the physical characteristics of mushrooms that are visible to the naked eye, macromorphology. And then in May, we'll have mushroom fossils in amber and copal. With some interesting short programs coming up too. All the meetings are recorded and we post them on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MAWDC. And so I encourage you to check out past meetings as well. There's a lot of good stuff up there. We don't have specific plans for going back to in-person meetings yet, but I do want to have that on the agenda of our next board meeting. So stay tuned, and we will probably be reaching out to members to see what you think we ought to be doing at some point. We have also joined the Northeast Mica Consortium, which schedules its own programs. And honestly, there have been more programs than we realized we were signing up for. I thought it was a once-a-month thing, but they have 3 scheduled in March that are open to our members. It's a members-only thing. So you should have emails on these, or we'll get them when they're about to happen with the Zoom links. There's a special one-off Sunday thing because for a Friday night was hard to schedule with someone in Belgium. So Sunday, March 6th with a guy from Belgium about dune fungi. March 18th, dye fungi, and then Friday, March 25th, Rick Kerrigan, who's an expert on agaricus mushrooms. These are also recorded. The recordings are not posted publicly on YouTube, but they are accessible to anyone who's a member of MAW. So we've sent the links out by email for the ones that have happened in the past. And we're very curious to hear what people think about these, if they're useful. Should we continue participating in this program? Let me know if you have thoughts. I know it's been a bunch of emails about them, so we'll try and get a little more streamlined as we figure out what their whole process is. Just some others, save the dates. At the end of April, beginning of May, iNaturalist has a big festival they call the City Nature Challenge, where they try and get lots of iNaturalist observations. It's not a great time of year for mushrooms, but we will definitely try and do some forays with a focus on getting things loaded up into iNaturalist. We've been talking to folks at the Smithsonian Folklife Festival. It does sound like they want to do fungi as a part of a larger track around Earth optimism. So connections to nature, use of mushrooms in innovative, sort of eco-friendly ways. They may ask us to staff some tables, sort of just encouraging people to be excited about mushrooms, and maybe on the weekend doing some ID tables. So if you're interested in that, let me know in helping out with those. And I think I said, but again, the easiest way to remember to reach me is just info@mawdc.org. Or you can do president@mawdc.org. And then in September, the beginning of September, Labor Day weekend is our big annual retreat for the club up in Pennsylvania. And the end of September is the North American Mycological Association foray, which will be in Missouri this year. I mentioned we could use some help with the Folklife Festival and other things, some specific things that we could use other help on. Actually processing the videos from our monthly meetings is time consuming, and there are a few people who know how to do it. If it's something that you're like, oh yeah, I know how to take a 2-hour video and break it up and post it onto YouTube, no problem. That's something we'd love to spread around and have more people get involved in doing. And someone asked if we could possibly video some of the forays that happen. I know Mitch and Matt have both said that they'd be willing if, you know, someone wanted to take video at a foray and sort of edit it down into a usable video. That would be welcome. Let us know and we will hook you up with the right people to make that happen. And then we're always looking for people who want to lead forays, who have ideas about events we could do for culinary or just social events. Definitely try to keep up with the big growth in membership and trying to figure out what sorts of things we should be doing. So let us know what you want to do, what you want to volunteer to help make happen. So again, you can email me at info@mawdc.org or president@mawdc.org, and I can help connect you to the right people. But in general, the email addresses for the board members follow that same pattern. So you can get to Mitch at forays@mawdc.org, or April is culinary@mawdc.org. So it is pretty easy to reach us, and it's all on the website at mawdc.org. All right, just a few pieces of fungi in the news. There was a really nice long form article in Outside magazine in January about truffle hunting and farming in Appalachia, including Maryland and West Virginia, I believe. Although they actually were quite circumspect about identifying locations at all in this article, but it was a nice read about going truffle hunting, and also a guy who's trying to commercially raise truffles not too far from where we're at. More psilocybin research has come out. I feel like this is a monthly entry in Fungi in the News, but I thought these were really interesting. The folks at Johns Hopkins, who are sort of the leaders in this field, just published a paper a few days ago with a year-long follow-up to their study of treating people with psilocybin for major depressive disorder. And they found really sustained results. So this is sort of, you know, people's scores on a depression scale, and then they fell at treatment and sort of stayed that low for a full year after that psilocybin treatment. So that article got some news hits when it came out. And And then this one also came up in my feed. The University of Washington has started a study using psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy for folks in healthcare settings to address depression and burnout in clinicians. So stay tuned for a while from now for what comes out of that. This is just another interesting piece in Scientific American. Some researchers, I believe at the Field Museum, looked at DNA from the genus of algae that is the most common set of organisms that partner as the photobionts in lichens. And they say, sort of looking at how the DNA changed in reaction to climate shifts in the past, they estimated that similar changes in the future could take hundreds of thousands of years, maybe millions of years, to keep pace with the amount of climate change that we're expected to see just in the next 100 years. So they were sort of sounding the alarm of we could lose an awful lot of lichens if these organisms aren't able to adapt quickly enough to changing temperatures. This was a fun one. In Japan, an agricultural organization did a study to test the folk wisdom that you should hammer on your shiitake logs. And they found that hammering 5 times on your shiitake log at a certain time in the growth cycle doubled output of shiitakes. I thought that was super fun. So this article that I found is not super specific about when in the cycle you should do it. So maybe someone can track that down and share that wisdom. But apparently this was something based on sort of traditional knowledge, and they decided to actually do a more scientific test of it. And it turned out to be true. And then just as the last thing, this is a podcast that I just managed to listen to, but it's from several months ago. If you've ever listened to the Gastropod podcast, it's about food, history, and culture. And they did an episode on plant and fungus-based meats, fake meats, that was super interesting about the processes for making these things. They talked a lot about a new product that's coming out called Meaty, M-E-A-T-I, which apparently has done a small product run, and I looked on their website, it's all sold out right now, but they're looking to go retail soon. So I thought this was an interesting podcast. I thought the news that a new sort of mushroom-based meat substitute is coming is interesting. So keep an eye out for that. And then also this group, Papadelics, is a new mushroom-based, like crispy shiitake chip that is coming out, and they emailed the club to say, could we help spread the word? So I am spreading the word. They're available on Indiegogo. Not super cheap, but I think it's fun that people are trying to do different things with mushrooms. So I thought I'd share it.
Just wanted to kind of alert you to a couple of things upcoming and things that you may not know about, including the very wonderful Culinary Forum that John, as the outgoing culinary chair, had set up on the website. I think we've got well over 100 people already signed up for it. Really want to encourage anyone who's interested in learning more about edible mushrooms, tasting edible mushrooms, tasting mushrooms in general, you know, sharing mushroom recipes and so forth, to join that. I'm going to share my screen real quick just to kind of walk people through that. Make sure I can find that. Okay. So if you go to activities on the website and down to culinary activities, you'll see this culinary co-op group. There's a little introduction there, and then an explanation of how to join. Basically, you need to be signed in, and then essentially it's very simple to join. And once you do, wait for it, slow internet connection, you will have access to a forum where you will actually be able to interact with other members of the forum, to basically to kind of do decentralized activities. If you, for example, last season, I and John had both offered up some tastings at our home. John had just an overflow of various things this last fall. He was offering up to people that you could just kind of come and pick up some donated mushrooms to try and share with others in the club. We announced our wild mushroom party. I think there's so many possibilities here, and I don't want to limit it, but basically have this be a forum where people can start to interact more informally, which is really tough with the meetings and the fact that we are not in person yet. So there is the forum itself, and then there's also a sub area here called mushroom recipes that you can peruse. I recently added a a little recipe for cooking with Old Man of the Woods. I finally found a way that it's palatable. So yeah, I just encourage everybody to check that out. There are aspects of this you will only see if you are signed in and you have joined the forum. And once you join the forum, you'll be able to you can sort of I think control whether you get a digest of all the emails from a day, or each emails that come in. Right now there's nothing happening, so I don't think it's the kind of thing you're going to get overloaded with. But yeah, that is one thing that we have going on. I think as the membership has just exploded, we really want to find ways that people can kind of connect, just given that we have so much demand for the few in-person activities that we have right now. I'm also heading up a couple of cultivation workshops too. Really exciting to see how much interest there was there. We've got one happening next weekend, and then a follow-up the following weekend. I know there's a waiting list for that, but we are going to look to do hopefully a couple more of those before the year is out. So if you didn't get on that, those first two, those that were on the waiting list will be announcing the follow-up. So eventually, we'll get everyone to get a turn with that. And then, as Elizabeth mentioned, also we've got the Mushroom Hunter. That's his book, the Mushroom Hunter's Kitchen, I think it is. Chef that's going to be doing both a talk and a demo. He's going to be cooking some things live, and like me, he has like a fond place in his heart for like the weird mushrooms that other people don't meet, necessarily, go hunting. So I'm excited to see what he's going to present to us, and that's something that is available to everyone. So please join that if you can. And then lastly, we are going to try to, do more MAW facilitated culinary events this year, as kind of we get back to normal. But again, just given the demand and the size of the club, it's going to be hard to accommodate everyone at those events. So I do encourage you guys to join the forum and, try to find ways for us to connect a little bit more locally. And if you have ideas, thoughts, suggestions, I'm at culinary@mawdc.com. No, I'm sorry, mawdc.org. Is that right? That's it.
Yes. Thank you, April. We're just a few minutes before 8. John, is there any sort of top level message that you wanted to get through about the stuff you were going to talk about, or should we just save it for another month?
Yeah, I wanted to say two things because it's relevant to the people who are already in the culinary co-op, and there's probably about 250 of our members who are in that. Everybody who seems to join clicks the box to join that, even though they may not read exactly what it's about. So what I wanted to do was share some information about, first of all, mapping of our members and where they all are, because this is important in trying to connect with other members for both cooking and forays. Let's see. Will stop sharing. Do you want to continue? Yes. Yes. Okay. So you may be able to see this. Nod your head if Elizabeth, if you are. This is I am able to generate on our website a map based on the addresses provided by all of our members, where they are at around DC. And in this case, the red dots are individuals, the blue dots are 1 to 10 individuals within that area, and the yellow dots, and particularly those in downtown DC, are 100, up to 100, to 10 to 100 people in that particular area. You have a lot of neighbors who are members of MAW. And I did a search of members in my zip code in Silver Spring, and there are 29 people who are members of MAW in my zip code. So if I'm looking for somebody to cook mushrooms with or go take a walk with, this is a really nice piece of information to have. Unfortunately, MAW members cannot communicate with other MAW members through our website currently. The only way to do that is through the Culinary Club, the Culinary Co-op, and it's a little bit complex to do that. I suspect many people have not even appreciated that they can do that. But when somebody posts in the forum, if you click on their name, the person that posted, you'll see a profile which will give you an opportunity to send an email to that person. And if that person is allowing it under their privacy settings, it will also show you their personal email. But if you don't disclose your personal email, the other people will be able to send you an email, and it goes through our website somewhat anonymously, and you can respond back to them. The other thing I wanted to point out to people was that there are privacy settings on our website. First of all, is we have a global privacy setting that tells what kind of information other people can have access to that is in your profile. Your profile, generally speaking, there's 80 people who haven't done it, that will show your name and your address, your phone number, and your email address. And what this looks like is at the global level, we provide no access to anything other than names and email addresses right now. But that hasn't been important because nobody's been able to look that up. We don't have a directory. We don't allow the map to show where people are. But even if we change that, or you wanted to have a different setting, you could go into your profile by logging in, clicking on your name, going to your profile, and clicking on Edit Profile. Or you can see what other people can see about you by looking at your directory profile. And if you go in, you can see what your settings are. Right now, your settings are probably MAW's default settings. Nobody can see anything except your name and your email address. We may ultimately shut this down so you can't see an email address either, without allowing it to be seen, so it would be an opt-in process. When you can edit your own settings. And the way you do that is you click on edit under my profile, and you change the buttons here from show it to members to no access at all. This is an important feature of our website if we start to connect other members. And it is important if you're in the club, the co-op group, because right now, though you may not realize it, people in the co-op group probably can get your personal information if you've overridden some of our defaults, and can right now get your personal email address. So we're gonna close that down. As a result of investigating this, I've realized that we really should have this as being a total opt-in on all information. So that's about all I have time to talk about now, for you people to realize that you have control over your privacy. On the other hand, we have 900 members, and a lot of them live close to you, and we can't get together because we can't find a space that will accommodate all of our members. And so we're trying to facilitate members getting in touch with other members who live nearby them to do cooking, to do walks, to do identification. And this is the only way we seem to be able to do it on our website. And if the people have other ideas about how to do this, we'd love to hear about it. One of the things that we can do is have a directory where you can search for other people who are in your zip code. But again, all it would do is allow you to email that person, and not necessarily their private email unless they went in and changed their personal privacy settings.